So I'm Rudraksh. I'm studying in GC second year Mac, and as a hobby project, I learn Blender during weekends. And since these weekends are going on for a month now, I utilize to learn more. So I'll begin, right?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So what you
So
saw,
Rudraksh has done another session like this before at NIT Goa. That was in the month of January, I believe.
mm, yep, probably.
Yes, yes, because we began 2020. That was the first session of ours in 2020. So
It
yeah,
was in collaboration with Savyas, NIT themselves.
yes, yes, yes. And
So
Ashwin,
I'll
yes,
take over.
Ashwin was the co-organizer that time.
I'll take over.
Yep.
Yeah. So everyone here, just type a yes in the chat because I want to know. Yep. So what we saw in Ashwin's session was that he made a game and it had nothing. It was very plain, just a couple of boxes, and they were crashing onto another boxes. So in Blender, what we do is create scenes for that game actually. So this is a scene which I created for Ashwin's game, though he doesn't know it. This is how it will look in his game, and this is how Blender looks at it. So what we'll do is we'll remake this scene again. Anyone making right as I make it? Should I be slow or should I go fast? Drop a message in the text if you're following up. Okay, I'll go slower then.
Aditya is following. Aditya
Yeah,
is
yeah,
following.
sorry.
Go at a
So
medium pace, I would say.
yeah, what I'll do is I'll close Blender and I'll open up Blender again. So this is what you see. This is what you see when you open up Blender. So what I'll do is I'll create a general file here and hit A and then hit X to delete everything. So that I've deleted everything. My scene is clear right now. So what I'll do is Shift A and then mesh and add a plane. Um, okay. Okay. So once I've added a plane, you can click on that plane, hit S to scale it up, S, and then hit 8. Just 8, nothing else. So my plane would be 16 by 16 because it's scaled 8 times. Now what I want to do is hit tab to go into edit mode. Blender has a couple of modes. One of them is weave or layout. This is called layout mode. It's up here. Then there's modeling where you can push in, push out, like playing through clay. Then there's sculpting. Sculpting is higher as modeling. So creating Game of Thrones, those dragons, idols, you use sculpting for it. Just like using clay in your hands. And there's UV editing. UV editing is painting on the surface of models. Then there's texture painting. Texture painting is simpler form of UV editing. You don't use texture painting when you are working for games. You need to use UV editing. And there's shading. What the fuck? That's shading. In shading, what you do is um, you create materials so that light can interact onto those materials, and you can create an illusion that your models are simulating some other material. Like this is a computer, right? I mean, this is a plane. It has no material, but I can simulate that this is having a metallic material just by going here, adding a shader, and then increasing metallic. So this plane is now metallic. So that's how these are my nodes in shader. I can increase and decrease metallic properties here. That's what shaders are used for. And there's animation. Animation is for, you know what animation is. I don't need to explain it to everyone. Then there's rendering. Rendering is later. Composting, scripting is in Blender. There's a Python console. You can type out your code. You can type out automated code to do automated stuff. You don't need to do everything by yourself. So I'll go to layout again. I delete my plane because I just messed with it. You don't have to delete it. I'll add a plane again and then scale it up to 8. So this is my plane. This is what you have with you. I'm guessing you're up with me. So once I have a plane, I'll go to edit mode by hitting tab. So once I'm in edit mode, I can right click and subdivide. So what subdivide does is it cuts this plane into pieces. So I deselect this. This plane is cut into 4 pieces because I subdivided it 2 times. So if I subdivide and increase the number of cuts, these cuts are increasing. So for this particular scene, I need 32 cuts. This should be enough. And smoothness should be 0. Leave rest. And then exit edit mode by hitting tab again. So my plane has 32 cuts, but you won't see it in layout mode. Once I'm in edit mode, you can see the cuts. Now, if you did see the scene before, there were these mountains on this side, right? So to make those mountains, what we do is select these, select a couple of random points, hit shift to select multiple. Hold on to shift and click on the points that you want to select. So the selected points are marked in yellow or orange. It's for your monitor, and the not selected ones are in black. So I've selected some random points. You don't need to select what I have selected. You can select whatever you want to. And then once your selection is done, you can go here, this transform. You can hit transform, click this blue arrow to bring them up. So these are my mountains. But if you remember correctly, these mountains were not solo. They influence the topology of other points too. What I mean is these mountains were big, not the straight stuff. So what I can do is go here, proportional editing. If I hit on it, if I hit on proportional editing here, you can see that it influences the topology of other points too. By the way, if you're wondering how I'm going through this, I mean how I'm rotating through my viewport, I hit middle mouse button. Proportional editing. Proportional editing is here. Once you hit move, go back. Once you hit move, click on move. Move this slightly up. I mean, as up as you want to, and then here, look here, this tab, and proportional editing is down on bottom. So once you hit proportional editing, it would affect the topology of other points too. And then I want to click on connected. So what this does is, if I increase my proportional size, see what's happening. And keep it random. Don't keep it smooth, keep it random. increase the proportional size to whatever you would like to. This is what I like, so I'll keep it here. Yeah. So if I exit from edit mode now, my scene is complete. So this is what I've been planning on putting into Ashwin's game. So this is my scene, and any doubts still here? All right, I'll go ahead. So if if you saw that before, then my scene had a large number of these similar pieces. So how did I do that? So what I can do here is I can click on it. I can hit Shift and D. So this generated a duplicate copy of it, but this would be a very tiresome work. So what we do here instead is hit here, click on it, go to modifiers. This what do we call it? A wrench symbol. This is your modifier, and add a modifier. And first you need a mirror modifier. So what mirror modifier does is it creates a mirror object of the object that you have applied the modifier to. So if I change to here, now this is my mirror object of this plane over to this side. So what I'll do is I'll hit Shift A, create, add an empty plane axis. So my empty plane axis is added here at the center. I want this at this edge. So what I'll do is I'll hit G to move it. So it's moving right now. I'll hit G and I'll hit Y so that I'm restricting its motion only to Y axis, the green line. So I'll hit G, I'll hit Y, and I'll hold on to control so that it snaps. I want it to snap right over to this edge. I click. So I'll click to confirm my position here. So I have an empty that snapped over to this edge. So now what I can do is I'll select this plane. I'll go to modifiers, and here in mirror object, I can select this empty. And instead of X, I turn off X. I'll click on Y. So here. Now this is a mirror object. If I move, it's mirroring, and my mirror is the empty axis. So my empty axis is acting as a mirror. This is my real object. Or opposite to it is the mirrored object. So now if I add a camera, Shift A and add a camera, my camera would be added right over at the center of the scene. So to move it back, I'll hit G, I'll hit Y again, I'll hold on to control, and I'll go to end of this scene, this side. No doubt still here. Okay, I'll move on. If you hit this icon over to your top right, you can see what the camera says. And you can see that the camera is not looking at the scene. Scene is outside. This is your camera's frame. So I have to put this scene into my camera's reference. So what I can do is exit out of this, go here, this context pane. In context pane, you can zero out everything. Zero out this, zero out this rotation, zero out this rotation, zero out this rotation. So now if you look at it, look through camera, the camera is pointing down. Here, you can see that the camera is pointing down. So I want the camera to look towards my scene. So what I'll do is red is my x-axis. So I need to rotate my camera 90 degrees up. So I'll go here and 90 degrees. Now my camera is looking towards the scene. If I hit on the camera icon, I can see that my camera is looking at the scene. So I can increase Z slightly so that my camera is above the plane. I can rotate X so that it's an illusion that my camera is running across the plane, and that's it. My camera is looking at the scene. So if I go to my camera setting here in object data, this plane camera, I'll decrease the focal length so that it's wider. It can look at everything. 24 would be enough. Yeah. So my camera can see this scene, but if you look at it, my scene is pretty small. Though I have duplicated it, my scene is pretty small because my camera can see the edge of it. And if you remember in Ashwin's game, you couldn't see the edge of it. It was unlimited. It was a running game. So I need a pretty big scene then. So I can add a mirror here again so that this is mirrored. I can add a mirror up ahead so that again that is mirrored. But that would be a huge task, and we are engineers, so we need to find a simpler pathway to this. So what I can instead do is I'll click on this. I'll go to modifiers. Don't apply. Don't click anything. Let mirror be here. I'll add another modifier, and this time I'll add array. This one, generate first array. So if you've seen, array just made another copy of it. This is not a mirrored copy. This is a physical copy of it. So I don't want this copy over to the X side. I mean on the X axis. So if I go down, I can clear it. I can make this 0, X, and I can make Y 1, relative offset. So here I have another copy of my scene up ahead again. So if I increase my count, there, my scene has as many objects as I want right now. So any doubt still here? I'll wait. Any doubt still here? Everyone understood the modifiers that I applied? First one is mirror, next one is array. Where did I increase? If you go down, this is my mirror modifier. If I go down, this is my arrays modifier here, this count. I can increase my count, I can decrease my count. Understood? So 10 would be enough, I guess. If you increase the number of counts, if you see here, vertices, faces, trees, these numbers increase. And then the more number of vertices you have, the higher load on your system. So I'll keep it 10 for now. If you are working on those government laptops, maybe you should keep a little less, like 8 on 8. I'll give it 10 because my laptop can handle 10. If I go to my camera again, camera view, by clicking this icon, I can see that I cannot see this edge. So my job here is complete. My basic scene is complete. Now what I'll do is I'll this surface is very smooth for me. I don't want this very smooth surface. I'll go to edit mode again. I'll select a couple of points from this flat surface. I'll hit on transform. I'll lift them up slightly, not much, slightly. And then again proportional editing, and for connected, and then for proportional size I'll increase it so that I get this small ripples kind of thing, just so that it looks cool. You don't need those, looks cool. So if I go out of edit mode now, you can see this, see that my road has a kind of ripple thing. It looks good. Yeah, I'll go again here on context. I'll select my camera and lift it up slightly so that it doesn't hit the ground. Now, this is what I like. You can like other things, but this scene is what I like. This layout is what I like. So I'll keep it here. Now you can see that if I go to rendered view, you can go to rendered view by hitting Z and rendered. There are 4 views in Blender. Solid is what we are in right now. You can see the shape and size of objects in solid, not materials. If I go to look dev is what my objects are looking for Blender, what my Blender sees when he sees those objects. This is what Blender sees. If I go to wireframe is, you must have seen those engineering drawings. These are those. And if I go to rendered is what my camera would see if it had lights. I'll go to solid again because I need to see the shape of my objects. Now what I can do is I'll see, our scene is pretty much complete. We have objects and we have our camera. What we need right now are lights and color to these surfaces. So how can we add colors? First of all, you need to select this plane, click on it, and go to this tab, materials, this ball kind of thing, and then click on new, so that I have a new material. Click on that material, and in beige color, make it darker. You won't see it changing here. To see that your material is applied, you can either go to look dev or rendered. Rendered is what your camera would see, so I suggest going into rendered mode instead of going to look dev. So my base color should be pretty dark. That's what I like, and I'll make it metallic, completely metallic. Make it 1, and then what I'll do is I want those wireframe kind of thing, those web things. So I'll add another modifier to this plane. Click on the plane first, then go to modifier tab, add modifier, and it should be wireframe here. Last one. Hit on wireframe. It will break apart your models. We don't want this web kind of thing. We want this web kind of thing on top of the model that we created before. So to toggle that out, we cancel out replace original, this thing. So if I cancel out replace original, my original model is there, but uh, I also have a wireframe here. I'll go about it again. What I did was click on the plane, go to modifiers, and add a wireframe modifier. So at first what it did was it broke apart my model, which I didn't want. I didn't want this web thing. So what I'll do is I'll go down and I'll turn off replace original. I don't want to replace original. So this is what I get. Give it a material offset of 4. I'll explain what material offset is later. Just 4, nothing else. And decrease the thickness slightly. So this is what I like. And give it an offset of maybe 0.6. Yeah, this is fine. So what thickness does is thickness controls the thickness of this wireframe, this web thing. So I decrease the thickness, those web things became thinner. Offset, what offset does is it changes my wireframe was directly attached to the surface of my previous model. What offset does is it separates out the wireframe from the object. That is what we need right now. You'll understand why we need that later on. And if I hit on replace original, it deletes my original model and just keeps the wireframe. I want my original model as well as the wireframe, so I toggle out replace original. So everyone up to speed up till here? Everyone understood how I added a wireframe model? Okay. Now, if I go to rendered view again, Z and rendered, everything is dark. I want lights, right? So what I'll do is I'll go to material, I'll click on this plane, I'll go to material, and I'll add another material by hitting plus here, so that I create a slot of material, and I'll add another material. This time I want it to be an emission. So if you go to surface, this thing, go and change it to emission. So if you notice, emission just change the emission of the grid pattern. I mean the web surface, not the original model. That's why this thing was needed. Material offset. It offsetted the material, the second material over onto itself, and not the original model. So if I go to material again, this I want, I'll click on material 3 because that's what is applied on the grid layer. I'll change the color to something like dark blue, and I'll increase the strength to maybe 30. That is enough. Yeah, I'll make it even purpler. Yeah. So this is what is this. If you go to your camera view, this is what your camera sees. Now go to your world setting. World setting is here, this earth, and in your world color, hit on the color and make it black. Everything should be black. Here. Now this doesn't look very flashy, right? So we want those bloom kind of thing. So Blender has ourselves covered. We can hit on bloom to make it bloom. It looks way cooler now. This is those 80s kind of thing. And if I hit on screen space reflections, you need to turn this on. But if you are working on your government laptop, keep this off. Don't turn it on. If I turn on screen space reflection, you won't see what happened here. What? Yes, yes. That's what I'm thinking of. Cyberpunky vibe. So if I turn on screen space reflection, you won't see what's going on. But what's actually going on is your camera now detects light rays which are reflecting off of this surface, this metallic surface that we made. So if I see through my camera, this is what my camera sees. You can see those mountains, you can see these ripples, and Now there was a sun back here somewhere. Now people RTX is for if I change this my render engine from EV to cycles. This is RTX. This is RTX. This is what RTX means. You can see that light is reflecting over on the surface. So for game engines, you don't need cycles. Cycles is only for making animations or maybe animated sequences. For game engines, you only need EV. In what EV does is, yeah. So what EV does is it simulates what light, what path light would take. What cycles does is it actually calculates the path light would take, and ev it just simulates what path light would take. That's why it has this bloom feature. Bloom is not real, it's just artificial. And in cycles there is no bloom, because this in cycles the light is calculated. So right now we are making our scene for game engine, so keep it ev. Cycles is way hard on your cpu. Don't use cycles for game engines. Now there was a sun back there, right? So to make that sun, what I can do is I'll go to the center of my scene again here, Shift A and mesh, and then there's this UV sphere and icosphere. For this particular scene, we need a UV sphere because we are making a sun. So there's our UV sphere. I want it way back there. So I'll hit G, I'll hit Y, I'll take it way back there. That is enough, I guess. And if I look through my camera, the sun is pretty small. So I'll hit S and I'll scale it up. Yep. So this is pretty big, I guess. Yeah. So I have my sun ready. But if you notice, the sun isn't emitting any light. That's because we haven't set any material for that sun. It's empty. So to add a material to the sun, you hit plus again, I mean new material again. Change the surface from principal BSDF to emission. Now it's emitting light. I want this to be orangey. Yeah. And strength, I'll keep it 10 or yeah, 30. 50 would be enough, I guess. Yeah. I decrease the strength of my wireframe model. So this wireframe, I'll click on my plane here, plane, and this second material, emission material, I decrease its strength slightly so that my sun is brighter than this. So 25 would be enough, I guess. 25. Yeah, this looks cool. Now there's a sun, there's a plane, there are mountains, and it has lights of its own. So if I change, see these people, if I change it to cycles, it's calculating the light. And if I change it to EV, this is simulated light. So that's why we need EV. Yep, it is very cool. So go to camera again. You can see that my sun is pretty far. I don't want this to be very far. I'll click on my sun again. You can click on anything through your camera too, huh? Don't worry about it. I'll go out. I'll hit G and Y and get it slightly near so that I'll hit G and I'll hit Y again. So get it slightly near. Yep, this looks good. Yeah, this looks good. I want my grid lines to have a purple kind of thing so that it matches with this orange. Yeah, 20 to 30. Yeah. And don't worry if your scene looks bad because it's currently rendering on your CPU. Now, if you noticed before, my camera was going forward. If I hit play, my camera isn't moving forward. To do this, what we do is um, change your frame rate, change your amount of frames to 120 so that it shrinks down your timeline here. So I have just 120 frames. If I go to my zoom is pretty bad. If I go to my render settings here, I have frame rate of 24 fps. Keep it 24 fps. Let it be. And if I go to my uh, yeah, so I'll click on my camera. I want camera to be animated. So what I'll do is I have these things. I have a location. If I change Y, my camera is moving forward. See, if I lower it, my camera is coming backwards. So I'll keep it -8 because it was -8 before. That's the start of my scene. And so I want my camera to move forward as time moves forward. So to do that, we use keyframe. So your first frame would be 1. Hit left arrow on your keyboard so that it becomes 0. See, my frame has gone to 0. I know 60 is smooth, but 60 would be very uh, what do you call it? Very heavy on your system. 60 is smooth, I agree. But 24 is what you would consider bare minimum. So that's why we use 24 to simulate stuff. For gaming, in game engines, you can use 60 because this scene would be rendered anyway. Now I'll click, I'm on frame 0. I'll right click on I'll right click on X and insert keyframes. So now my X, Y, and Z are yellow, and these diamonds are bigger. That means I have a keyframe here. I have a diamond here. And if I move my timeline up ahead here onto my, the shortcut to go to last frame of your timeline is this arrow, jump to endpoint. If you click on it, you're on, yeah, I'll increase my volume. This is fine. This is fine. Okay. So if I go to my previous frame, I'll start from here, 0. I inserted keyframes. So now they are yellow. I have my diamonds bigger. So that means I have keyframe set onto this frame, 0th frame, because there is a diamond logo here. So if I go to the last frame of my animation here by clicking onto this arrow, I'm on the 120th frame. If you see, this has become green. That means our location was not altered. It is as it is since the 0th frame. If I play my animation, my camera is stuck here. So what I want is my camera should move up ahead, right? So to do that, I can alter Y. See, and now Y is orange kind of thing. Ah, no, no. Disturb करू नका चल ना No. Sorry for that. So if -8 was my beginning, so I want my camera to move up ahead, right? So our scene is pretty big. Our scene is pretty big. So my camera can move way up here. So what I do is I'm on my last frame. I'll make this 16. Yeah. My camera jumped up ahead. 16. 16 is the end of my. So if I look through my camera, this is what my camera sees. Is there a problem? Everything is fine, right? Because I'm getting an error message saying my internet is unstable. Am I online?
Yeah, we can see your screen and we can see a bit of a lag though. Hello?
Oh yeah, I just got a call. That's why.
No, just a bit of a lag, but otherwise it's fine.
Okay, okay. Still, okay, I'll increase my volume. Don't say this is an ear rape. So my camera is moved up ahead. So what I want to do is since my Y is yellow, I want everything orange. I want everything to be yellow, and my diamonds are bigger, but they are empty. So that means my 120th frame does not have keyframe. So I'll hit on right. I'll right click and insert keyframe again. So here my diamonds are filled up. My values are yellow. That means I have put a keyframe here and at the end. So if I hit play, the camera is moving up ahead. See? So this is what my camera sees now. And if you notice, my camera is moving up ahead, but the sun isn't. I want the sun to move too. So what I can do is I can animate the sun. I'll pause this. I can animate the sun as well to move from this place to that place. But there's a shortcut to it. I'll go to my last frame, 0, and click on sun first here. Then hold shift and click on camera. And now click Control P, and this will parent the object. I hit Control P, this pop-up came out. Click on object, first thing. So now my camera is the parent of this sun. Okay, the sun is a son of my camera. My camera is the parent of this sun. So if I hit play, my camera is moving as well as the camera's sun is moving. See, I don't need to animate my sun again. So if you go to your camera, see, this is it. This is my final scene. And if I pause this and hit F12 to see what my final render would look like. You can go here to render and render image. So this is what your final render will look like. This looks pretty good, I guess. So now you have a scene. You can use this in your game by going here, file, export, and FBX. You can export this whole scene as an FBX and import this particular FBX in your Unity project. So once you import this FBX, this scene would be in your Unity project. You can apply Gravity, you can apply your Ashwin things, and then you have your game. So this is how you make your game beautiful. So this is Ashwin's runner, but way more beautiful. This is this cyberpunky 80s theme. So that's it. Any questions? Yeah, sure. So I'll recap what I did. First, I made a plane. I can't undo. Blender can't undo much. There's just 32 steps, so I won't undo. I'll just talk what I did. First, I created a plane here. Solid. So this was my plane. This was my initial plane. The dots thing. This was my initial plane. I I went into edit mode, right clicked and subdivided to 32 steps. I can do it again, I guess. Yeah, subdivide, and number of cuts I made it 32, right? So I don't need to subdivide it again. So I'll just cancel it out. And once I subdivided it, I had these multiple points on my surface. So I selected a couple of random points, uh, transform them upwards. I mean, move them upwards, and utilized proportional editing. What proportional editing does is, if I move this point, this singular point is moving. I'm not affecting the scene uh, in close. I mean, I'm not affecting the points which are close to it. So if I hit on proportional editing, now my whole topology is affected. See, this becomes a cloth. I don't want this. So that's why I used proportional editing, so that I make these mountains. So once my singular tile of mountain was done, I needed multiple tiles to make this a long scene. So what I did was I just used mirror first here, mirror, so that this tile is mirrored to this tile. Why I use mirror? That would be why I use mirror, because if I I'll make a plane. Don't do this. I'll make a plane, and no. Never add objects in edit mode. That's a huge mistake if you do it. Always exit your edit mode. Now add objects. I'll add a plane. I'll bring it out. Yeah, this is my plane now. I'll show you what happens if I don't mirror it. I'll move this up. I'll this slightly. If I directly add an array and I want this over to y, so 0 y 1 here. So look at it. This is repetitive. I don't want this to be repetitive. So what I did was I used mirror, so that I don't want this. I used mirror so that my this scene was mirrored exactly here, and the next tile wouldn't be a copy of this tile because this is a mirror of the original tile. So this looks procedurally generated, but it isn't. This is just an illusion. That's why I used mirror. And next, I used array modifier so that I can add multiple tiles of this singular tile. I added multiple tiles. I made it 10. Then I added a camera so that my camera can see what I can see. If you don't add a camera, your scene is pretty useless because your computer isn't looking anything. Then I added a sun. Then I hit on this plane and added this wireframe modifier. What my wireframe modifier does is it adds a grid pattern. We needed this grid pattern to use it as a source of light. If I decrease this thickness even further, you can see that here. This is what thickness does. So wireframe modifier allowed us to use this web kind of thing to make it even cyberpunkier. And then I added a sun. For material, I clicked on my objects. I went into materials tab. I can add slots. I can delete slots. And for each material, I used a new slot, a new material, and my first, this plane was just principal BSDF, made it into metallic. Then this grid line was this emission, blue color 30. Yeah, its strength was 30, and then I added a sun like that. Similar, same procedure for adding a sun, adding materials to it. So I don't need to go about it again. The next thing that was uh, that's worthy of covering is how did I animate the camera. So to animate the camera, you go to the 0th frame first, then click on camera, go to its context, object context, and these are its location. Since my camera needed to be moving forward, I needed to alter its location. So its location can be altered in the context object menu. So I needed to alter Y. So I made this my keyframes first. Then I went to my last frame here, and then this was my 16-meter distance from center point. So I just added 16. You can add whatever you want. I can increase it to here. I can make it 32 if I want to. And then once you change your distance, you can insert keyframe or replace keyframes. So now, since my distance is increased but my time is same, my camera would move much faster. Yeah. This is how you animate your camera. But I think you can animate your camera in Unity too. You don't need to animate your camera just in Blender. It's not exclusive. You can use Unity's camera too. You just what you exactly need is these two objects, my scene, a sun, and the materials on the sun here, the materials on this scene here, these two, and the topology of these two objects. That's it. That's what you need for game development. If you don't want to program, you can go into object creation, asset creation of game development. That's what Blender is used for. So, so that's it. That's where I conclude my session. All right, Tanmay, are you here?
Yeah, hi. Any doubts, anyone? You can speak up now. Don't have to chat, as in the text chat.
Yeah. If you have any doubt, you can reach out to me at
Yeah, just put in your email there.
yeah. Zoom is bad, Tanmay.
Huh?
Zoom is pretty bad.
Uh, we were expecting a few more. That no, the only other problem is that other sessions are they have a time limit. Zoom, I got a that is why no time limit.
Understood. So I've sent my mail and my username. I use this username on all social media. You can reach out to me on any social media, or you can just email me your questions. If you have any doubts, if you need any help, if you need anything while setting up your game dev environment, you can reach out to us through DevCluster through too. Any
Uh,
doubts that you need to ask right now?
okay, I think there aren't any questions.